So welcome back to Project Independence and You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I'm your host, Rebecca Miller, along with our co-host, Otto Los, and of course, our radio show producer, Kristina Liu, who pulls these shows together every week. And also, I just want to shout out to Dan Cox, who's the director at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. And we just had a great guest talking all about modern technology, monitoring and safety for the home. So that was really great. A lot of information. We have their contact information. If anybody wants, you just can call 311 and we'd be happy to get it. And our next guest today is, I'm so happy, I think it's her first time on Project Independence and You, is Councilwoman Marianne Del Monte. And Marianne is council person for District 6. And I'm just reading about you, and you are just Port Washington, born, bred, raised, love. Anything that's going on in Port Washington, you're like there. And, you know, I know how passionate you are about being a councilwoman, and I see you everywhere myself. I think Asian Fest and every time there's an event. So, you know, we're happy to have you on the show, and you know, hoping to learn a little bit about you and also what's going on in Port and some of the other things that you're working on with the rest of the town. So welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It is such a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited about being here. And just want to make sure everyone's aware, I do represent Port Washington. I represent Plandome Manor, Plandome Heights, Muncie Park, Flower Hill, and the part of Roslyn that is in the village of Flower Hill. So I am, and as you said, I am all over the place. I don't think I have dinner. I think the last time I sat down and had dinner with my husband was the other day. But before that was like 3 weeks. It's, you know, I love my job and I want to be there. And every time I'm invited to something, I do whatever I can to make sure I'm there for my community. I really enjoy being a council person. I really do. You know, so just a little history about me.
Sure.
So I am 4th generation in Port Washington. My husband, I keep on asking his mom, is either 6th or 7th. So we have a lot of history between the two of us in Port Washington. We both went to Schreiber High School. My husband was a year older than me. We were not high school sweethearts. We met after high school. We knew of each other in high school. My kids all had the same gym teacher that I had in high school. So it's just, my mom was in the first graduating class from Sousa Junior High. And then it became an elementary school. And then my daughter, 50 years later, was in the graduating class of the elementary school. And my mom was a school teacher in the school district. So there's just so much history. My family is very involved with the fire department, and we're volunteers. And there's just, between the two of us, everyone keeps on saying, are you related to everyone? And I'm like, no, I'm not related to everyone. It's just, there's just so much history between my husband and I in Port Washington. And I truly, truly love my community.
You know, I lived in Muncie Park for about 25 years, from 1971. And I used to go to North Hempstead, which wasn't called that back then, Bar Beach and whatever. And that park is a topic that it used to be a really, really nice park. And there's a little work to be done there now. And I know you're involved with the future plans for that park. Can you give us any update on where that's at right now?
Sure. So Supervisor Bosworth, under her leadership, had and I was not an elected official at that time, but I remember going to the meeting. They hired a consultant to do meetings throughout the town of North Hempstead. and wanted to know what the community wanted there. They got all the feedback from everyone in the town of North Hempstead. The consultant put that together, and then there was a smaller team that worked on North Hempstead Beach Park, and a master plan was done. Now, just so you're aware, Congressman Swazi gave $1 million for improvements for that park for shoreline restoration, and so did Senator Anna Kaplan. So we have received $2 million in funding for that. And the DPW department, last night, we actually just voted on to do additional plans we have to do for the wetlands that are down there. So we have to show the DEC, but the DPW is working on it. They are working on phase 1 of getting the permits. It's going to be a long process. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. You're talking, this project probably is going to be, I would assume it's going to be about $10 million to do. It's a very large, because you got to remember when you went there, Bar Beach, and it used to be Hampstead Harbor. One was owned by the county, one was owned by the town of North Hempstead. Then I believe when Supervisor Kamen was here, he took over that park, and now it's all owned by the town of North Hempstead. And it needs a lot of work. Otto, you're absolutely correct. It needs a lot of work and a lot of help. And it's going to go in phases.
Well, you talked about the history, which I'm interested in myself too. We at one time had somebody on who was involved with the Sand Miners Monument in Port Washington way back. And it makes you realize that, I look up a history here that the sandbanks of Port Washington are more than 20,000 years old. That was a major industry in Port Washington at one time, sand mining. And part of that was it left a lot of bad side effects, if you will. There's still stuff, I think, laying around that had to do with that era. And I think there's some cleaning up to be done. Is that all part of it?
I would, well, anything that we do, we would clean up our area. I don't know where there's anything that needs to be cleaned up in the sense of, are you saying with the shoreline restoration? Where are you, because when I go down there, I see that we have erosion, but I don't see major cleanup. Are you talking about the property that does not belong to the town of North Hempstead?
You want to know the truth? I don't know what I'm talking about. All right. What I visualize is, when you I still walk there all the time on the beach, and you go to I don't know what end that is, towards Port Washington, and you get to the end of that, and there's like an old dock there, which is kind of semi-okay. And that whole section right in there is a little bit, looks like there's a lot of old barges there and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm wondering if that is the property that belongs to the Scotto family.
That probably is. I don't know that, yeah.
Because closer to Port Washington is
right.
That property does not belong to, if it's the area, I would need to see the area that you're talking about, but if it's the area I'm thinking about, is that property does not belong to
yeah, it's the far end of
it's really, really far.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe that property does not belong to the town of North Hempstead.
And I did see your picture today or yesterday.
Oh, my oysters. Oysters. I had my first meeting about the oysters in February of 2020. I was elected in 2019. My term started on January 1st, 2020. And in February of 2020, I had my first meeting regarding oysters. And I was told, you're never going to get them. You're never going to get them. I think you need to think positive. Don't think negative. Always think positive. Life is too short. You have to think positive. I was like, bye-bye. I'm going to see what I can do. And I worked very closely in 2020 with Supervisor Bosworth and also her chief of staff, Janine Dillon. And we kept on hitting roadblocks, and we hit roadblocks, but we picked ourselves up like you always should when you hit a roadblock and said, okay, there's got to be a way. This is happening in Jamaica. It's happening out east. Why can't it happen in Manhasset Bay? It's happening in Hampstead Harbor. I just don't understand this. So we called Governor Hochul's office, and her staff set up a meeting with us, with the DEC. It was such a positive meeting. They told us to contact Cornell Cooperative of Suffolk County. Mm-hmm. We then reached out to them. I have to tell you, when I was on the meeting, it was a Zoom, happy tears of joy were coming out of my eyes, because it was such a positive meeting. They're like, okay, we can add you to our DEC permit. We will do this as a pilot. We will put in 1 million oysters. It's costing the town $19,400. This is a win-win for everybody. So this is a pilot program. We're going to monitor it in June. We're going to have Cornell Cooperative is going to come in with divers. We found 3 locations, and that picture that was in Newsday yesterday is from last week when we were on the boat trying to find locations, because you can't find an area that has mud. You have to find an area that has sand. And it's very important because the oysters need to live. So, and in the mud, they're not going to live. So what we did was we found 3 areas. Now they're going to come in with a diver. We're going to go out with the diver. The diver will say yes or no to the locations. If he says no, we want to put them in 3 spots, we'll go that day and try and find another spot. And then sometime the end of July, beginning of August, we'll go out on the boat and we will divide up the 1 million spat-on oysters in 3 locations. And then they'll keep on getting checked by Cornell Cooperative with help from the Town of North Hempstead Bay Constable, because we want them to find their home in Manhasset Bay. And then by finding their home, they'll multiply, they'll have babies, they'll multiply, they'll grow, they'll become a cluster. Now, what I want to do is, if it works, I will know sometime in early spring of 2023. And after that, I want to introduce another program with Cornell Cooperative of Suffolk County, where if you have like there's in Port Washington, some people have beach rights, also in Plandome and also in Great Neck. So if you have beach rights, you live on the water, you're a yacht club, you're a marina. I want to work with Cornell and also the property owner, and they have their own oyster bed. So maybe they have a floating container of spat-on oysters. So this will help add more oysters to the bay if this pilot program works. And then I would love to start seeding the bay with more oysters every single year and put this in the Town of North Hempstead budget. Because as we all know, water, is this is a precious resource. Manhasset Bay is a beautiful area. If you come to Port Washington and you go to Town Dock, sometimes, most of the time, you can't even find a parking spot to watch the sunset. If you have never been to the Town Dock in Port Washington to see a sunset, you don't know what you're missing. It is the most beautiful sunset ever. And really, everybody should try and go there just to see. You could sit in your car. You could watch it from your car. You don't have to get out of your car unless you want to go sit on one of the benches or you want to take a walk. But it is absolutely beautiful.
Well, I think it's great stuff. Someday we could sit around and have oysters in Port Washington.
These are not edible. These are not edible.
They would not be edible.
No, these are not edible.
So the function would be for helping keep it clean?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize that an oyster, how many gallons of water do you think a oyster filters?
I have no idea.
A day.
How many gallons? 20? I don't know.
50 gallons.
Really?
One oyster filters 50 gallons of water per day.
Wow.
Amazing,
so the water
right?
will be the
They are
volume.
this is a natural way to clean up the bay, the sound. It's natural. It's unbelievable what they do. I have to say, I do love oysters, but when I go to order oysters now, I do think differently of them. I'm like, oh, this is, I'm just like, oh, like I know that it's
Like, what water were they cleaning before they put them?
I am sure before you eat an oyster, those oysters are in areas where you can eat them. These oysters that will be in Manhasset Bay will not be.
But they'll be there for the environment.
They'll be there for the environment.
Like the goats eating the poison ivy. And
yes, Veronica,
that stuff.
Councilwoman Lurvy. Yep.
Right. All right. That's
and
good.
I'm so, when Councilwoman Lurvy brought in the goats, I'm highly allergic to poison ivy. And there I am petting the goat. And someone's like, you do know they roll around in poison ivy. I was like, yeah, really, you don't think like that. Like they could have it on them. And here I am touching them. Went home immediately, took a shower and I did not get poison ivy, which was good.
Well, we have to take a quick break. Councilwoman Del Monte, it was so wonderful to have you on, hear your passion about all the projects and everything you're working on with the town. And we're so appreciative. And I'm sure we'll have you back probably in spring, definitely in spring of 23 to find out how it all worked out. You're listening to Project Independence in You, Senior Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We'll be right back.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
Welcome back to Project Independence in You, Senior Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We were speaking with our wonderful Councilwoman, Marianne Del Monte, and just hearing all about the wonderful things that she's doing, not just for her district, but also for the entire town of North Hempstead. But right now, this is really the talk of the town segments, and we just asked Marianne to stay around, and she was happy to. So we're going to hear some more from Marianne. So, Kristina, what is happening what's going on in North Hempstead? What's the talk of the town?
Well, there's a lot going on. I just want to remind everyone that next week's show we have on the Transition Network of Long Island, which is a group of 55 plus aged women. And just kind of in their transition of life and all. It's an amazing organization. Barbara Melman, who is our technology for the terrified guru, is part of that organization. So she's going to be on. So I'm really excited to learn about another great organization. And I have to give a special shout out to the first hour of today's show, all about wellness, safety, technology. I mean, I think all of our minds were blown that these services exist out there for a pretty reasonable cost, so if that's something that if you're the caregiver or, someone who just wants that in their home to begin with everyone now is doing smart technology, that you could turn light bulbs on, so it varies. It's not just a senior based thing, obviously, but I think that the services that are offered, especially for caregivers, who are just trying to, monitor and keep in contact with their loved one is just so incredible. I was just blown away. It's just when you think all the services, right? You're like, what?
And the other thing I liked about it too, Kristina, that was kind of coming to mind is it takes, in terms of seniors, it takes the onus off the senior to call and ask for help, which they don't want to do, but you can kind of, because you're monitoring them. And there are instances where maybe they need some kind of help, from maybe something not working to, falling. And, instead of calling to ask for help, they may suffer for a while. So
that was such a great point, Beck, because I think we certainly see a lot of times, members don't want to bother their family or they don't want
Right.
to speak up, so they'll sit around with something that's not working. And I love the idea, and I know, Otto, you liked that as well, that, it's really based upon your habits. You'll be notified if something. I thought that was so interesting, to
Well,
have that
I
kind of
think
thing.
what's great about it is it combines two major areas, security and monitoring is their bailiwick, and you can still use an Alexa type device for entertainment as part of
Yeah.
the whole package.
Incorporates.
So you kind of have on the social part of it and the security part of it. It's, I think it's great. And the
Yeah.
cost factor, as we talked about, comparing it to keeping people out of a nursing home and spending $100,000 for a nursing home, the cost is like peanuts
Right.
compared to what that is.
Yeah,
It
no,
was a
absolutely.
great segment. Really
I
was.
loved what you said, Otto, too, when, Marianne, we had these programs when we first started, access to home, trying to make the homes more accessible for people with disabilities and seniors. And one of the things we kind of talked about was this concept of main level living, like instead of running upstairs to, get in the bathtub, or the bedrooms are there, or the basement to wash your clothes or whatever storage, if you keep things on the main level, keep your life on the main level, you're going to be able to age in place a lot longer. And Otto's point was too, we were talking about this, with all these technologies that offer monitoring and like almost like daily or 24/7 wellness checks,
Right.
If anything's going on, it just offers even a longer span of time that you could probably stay in your home safely, because that's the Project Independence kind of, mission statement,
Right.
aging in place safely. So it's just, with these little tweaks that, you can really stay in the home even longer. So Otto pointed that out. Just wanted to say, yeah, that I agree with that totally.
Yeah, I was really just blown
Good
away. And I
segment.
loved the idea that you didn't have to be super tech savvy to have these things. And, the question too about like, do you need some high speed, internet service for this to work? And so many of the features you didn't, which I was really surprised about. I kept assuming that to have all these kind of things, and it just, listen, and I could speak because Amanda, had we said my soon to be sister-in-law who was on with them, she, I've heard the stories about the customer service, and she's kind of like the granddaughter, for a lot of these seniors who call in, and then they know, oh my God, thank you, so she's constantly,
Very nice.
facilitating. So I think it's so important to be, we know to have that personal kind of relationship and to talk to someone is certainly important. So
Trust and that personal relationship go a long way. You can trust what they're going to tell you.
yeah.
Otherwise, Christine is going to get mad at Amanda.
That's right. I'll have to. You just tell me. I'll get to her. But it was just wonderful. And I just wanted to tell some other topics that will be coming up. I had mentioned next week's show. Then we're going to have in June. We're going to have Parker Jewish Institute is going to come on to talk about Parker at Your Door, the Willing Hearts Helpful Hands program, and the Hope and Healing program. We're going to have facts about neuropathy. And then the Northwell Health Alzheimer's Disease Research Center will be on. They were actually at our advisory committee last week. And it was such a wonderful presentation.
That was Wednesday, Christina.
Yeah.
It was Wednesday.
2 days ago.
2 days ago.
He
It
was
seems like it's
terrific.
been,
Dr. Gordon was amazing. I answered questions. He stayed longer than he was supposed to. It was really interesting.
yeah, so I'm excited that we get him for a full hour,
I know.
to really talk. So, and if you've missed any of our segments, you could always check out old interviews on Project Independence's website or on the WCWP Studio YouTube page, because there's so much wonderful and a variety of topics I think we could all speak on. So it's all exciting stuff. And then now, Councilwoman Dalimonte, I know you could help us with this because summer is coming. So in preparing for this, I've been, researching North Hempstead, all the summer concerts, all these wonderful programs are coming out. And then, of course, the beautiful pools that are in North Hempstead. And I know that you're involved in a kind of reduced fee program.
Yes. So what happened was Long Island Together, two residents in Port, Pam O'Connell and Kimberly Kaiserman, came to me actually when I was running, and they were raising funds in the community to send kids to camp, or the family could take a membership to a pool. And they saw a need for residents not able to afford the fee. They're on free and reduced lunch. So what we did is I worked last year with the Commissioner of Parks, and we came up, and also Lynette, I don't know if you know Lynette Bates from Alytic House. She's phenomenal. So I sat down with her and we figured out a way to do a reduced fee program for our outdoor pools, Manor Haven and Whitney Pond. So basically they fill out the form and they have to provide information to prove that they can't afford the regular fee. So it's not just by their word. So if they're on the SNAP program, so this is for people who have a certain amount of income. And so they get a reduced fee for joining the pool. So it allows them to go into the pool, to have something to do with their children. Like if you go into the city, the pools are free. They're not free here in the suburbs in Long Island. So this is a way to really make sure that our outdoor pools are accessible for everybody, not just for the people who can afford it, really for everybody. And I was so happy last year when we approved this. So this is our second year doing it. We did make some modifications. Always as you start a new program, you have to change things as they go along. But we had some hiccups last year with people not knowing about it. So now it had its own press release. We have informed. I've reached out in my district. I have reached out to all the outreach programs to make them aware and how they can apply. The application is in English and it is in Spanish online.
Great. Wow. Yeah, that's so important. And that is for Manor Haven Beach Park and Whitney Pond Park pools for that program. Then, of course, if you are in the special district in Clinton G. Martin Park in New Hyde Park, you have access to the Clinton G. Martin Park pool. We certainly could see all the people, Rebecca, that have been coming in to do the early bird registration, which is currently open now. So you can call 311 or 516-869-6311 for information and payment schedules, because there's a whole bunch of different things, different payments that are involved. So definitely make use of that. I think it's another great resource in North Hempstead.
Kristina, what's the early bird registration for the pool at Clinton Martin Park? Is that like do you get a different price? Or
Yeah, it's a different price. Yep, it's a different price. I mean, the exact price, there's a whole bunch of different depending on if you're a family or a couple, but that's the point of it, and it's kicked off now. So the early bird registration ends on June 11th. So from now till June 11th, you're able to get this early bird kind of special for the pool. So, because Otto, you're part of that, right? The special district.
Yeah.
There you go. So you could take advantage of the early bird rates.
One of the things that is kind of that Marianne just pointed out over break, which I just, it's just settling with me now, is she started her term with the town January 20th, 2020.
January 1st, 2020.
2020, right, 21st, right, January 1st, 2020, which was 2 months, not even, or about 2 months before COVID. So you had maybe 60 days, give or take, because toward, as we were getting close to the shutdown, we were kind of all trying to, be a little bit more careful with the mask. So how did that, I don't even know. I mean, you can't compare because that's when but what was that like as a newly elected council person to have, such a limited amount of time to be with your constituents in person, and the type of person that you are, you're like so hands-on and involved, and to just all of a sudden you can't go or do anything. What was that like?
When I ran, I said I was going to have meetings. I was going to do this. I was going to do that. I was going to go back to the Amsterdam and have, a town hall with them. So I was like throwing my hands up, and I was very lucky that I worked with the town, and I knew the highway department. I knew the DPW department. I knew code enforcement. So I knew communications. I had a background of knowing the town of North Hempstead, but never as an elected official. So what I did was, and I did promise this on my campaign trail, in February of 2020, I started my District 6 newsletter. And currently right now I have 2,500 people, roughly 2,500 people signed up for it. And I communicated through the newsletter with the constituents. For example, like I remember doing a newsletter that gave you all the information from state to county to town, where you can go to get a vaccine, where you can go and do, if you needed PPE. The fire department would reach out to me and say, we need PPE, and I would send it. Even like, when it was a snowstorm was happening, clear your fire hydrant. It's just information that I find out from community organizations in Port, or from the town of North Hempstead, and I just combine it all into one newsletter. And I sent out probably one a week. Sometimes it's 2 or 3.
Right.
I think this week it's been so far 2.
Okay.
Now something happens tomorrow, it'll be another one.
How do you get on to that?
So you can go to the Town of North Hempstead website, you click on my name, and you scroll all the way down to the bottom and you sign up.
And you don't have to live in Port. It could be anywhere in the town, because you're providing a lot of information.
It is so funny because there are residents that don't live in District 6, and they write to me and they're like, he lives in, I believe, Carl Place. I told all my friends to sign up. So it's not just District 6 residents. He loves it. And, I do get, and I have a bulletin board. I have all these thank you letters, handwritten letters on my bulletin board that people have sent me and said, I didn't know about this, and thank you. Like, for example, like I was on a COVID-19 relief team with the community chest of Port Washington. They asked me to do a video about the COVID vaccines, and they wanted it in Spanish, they wanted it in English. I made it happen. I got, clergy involved. I got community leaders involved, and we created a video. I don't know if you know, but I worked with Assemblywoman Salidi, and we ran with Northwell a COVID vaccine site. First, Governor Cuomo at the time, gave us 300 doses. We went door to door to the bodegas, to the delis with my iPad. We signed people up. We worked with New York Institute of Technology outreach program. We signed people up. We were going live with the link on Monday. He gave us 300. There was like 40 left. They were like, what did you do? We're like, we haven't left our kitchen tables. We have worked. And they gave us another 300 doses because they couldn't believe it. There was nothing left. We vaccinated 600 people.
Wow.
That's
good job.
We really worked really, really hard on that, because it's your choice. If you want to get vaccinated, here's a way that you can do it. It's your choice.
Now, you speak Spanish? No,
I don't. I had people translate.
Yeah, I wish I did.
I wish I did too.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
It's really, it's really important. You just have to work as a team with your community. And my theory is team. And I always say this to everyone: team means together, everyone achieves more. If you work as a team, we will get things done.
That's great.
I think we need that on t-shirts. I
love that. Wait, I have some. Look at this. My
Okay, so
sign.
Oh, there you see.
there you
I
go.
like it. I love it. There you go.
Maybe
So
take
I
a
had
photo.
that made.
Serious,
For those
maybe you could take a
listening,
shot of that and send it to Kristina.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And for our radio listeners,
I love it.
Councilwoman Del Monte is showing us a sign that she has framed. Team together, everyone achieves more, and it's really lovely. So
And there's no doubt about it either.
No, and I think that that's a motto for all things, in life, right?
That is. It
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
It's really, and so speaking of teamwork, I certainly know that Beck could give us a quick little update on Fun Day Monday. And on that note, you'll have to wait.
I'll start off with Fun Day Monday. When we come back, we have to take a quick break. You're listening to Rebecca Miller, Otto Los, Kristina Liu, Councilwoman Marianne Del Monte, and we will be right back.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio, or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
Welcome back to Project Independence in You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We're speaking with Kristina Liu for Talk of the Town and Otto Los as the co-host. And of course, Councilwoman Marianne Del Monte, who I think is now also hooked on Project Independence in You. She's sticking with us throughout the rest of the show, and she's giving us some great information and is just wonderful with what she's doing with the newsletter. One of the things that came to mind, Marianne, is that, of course, the pandemic was, a horrible thing for everybody to go through. However, so many things that we learned during the pandemic we're still doing. We're doing Project Independence Fitness on North Hempstead television, and we're reaching people we never were able to do before. Those that really couldn't get out can now exercise at home safely on their chair, watching it. Zoom is just a phenomenal, vehicle for people to communicate, and for us even doing the radio show. So I love this newsletter that you're doing and that it's going to continue. And you're like, once, twice, 3 times a week. I mean, it's wonderful, and anyone can sign up for it. So that's great. Just go on the website, go to Councilwoman Del Monte's link and go to the bottom, and you'll find out how to sign up. Or you can always reach out to Kristina or I calling 311. We're happy to help them navigate that too. So Talk of the Town. So before break, Fun Day Monday. So the good news is we're almost complete with a draft flyer. And of course, this is at North Hempstead Beach Park. And this is our first full summer back since the pandemic. Last year we did, we scheduled 4, but 2 of them because of heat, and then 1 because of the rain, and we weren't able to coordinate the backup date, so we only did 2. But it was really nice to get out there and see the seniors. So this summer we're starting Monday, July 11th, and we're going for 7 Mondays in a row through August 22nd, I believe, with each Thursday the backup for rain date. We've got great entertainment. We've got Viva Las Vegas one day, and we've got Elvis and Frank Sinatra. And this year we're doing something we haven't done in the past, which is we have a band called Beatleikes coming, and they're a terrific Beatles band. So the seniors, everybody comes, can dance to it. It's all about the danceability, and they've certainly, came to America in 1964. So there's a lot of our seniors that, that's 58 years ago. So a lot of our current seniors were young then and dancing and getting into the music. So there's a lot. We're going to have exercise every week, and we're partnering with Metro Wellness or Metro Physical Therapy, but they have instructors who are also trained in silver sneakers. So we have one of their instructors now teaching fitness classes. So we're going to have all of the regular great things. We're going to have our health fair, which is the third Monday. The third Monday, yeah. And then we have our final Fun Day Monday will be August 22nd, and that will be a salute to the troops. And we have a lot of exciting things going on. So call 311 with any questions.
And transportation will be available, right?
Bus transportation is available, but you do need to call 311. They have bus stops. They're working with bus stops, I believe, which is what they've always done in the past. And it's just going to be great. We're going to even have our cafe open and coffee, and it's just going to be, a great thing. We're going to have more. I think we're going to have more tents. I'm not 100% sure, but we have enough tents so that if you want to sit under a tent or a pavilion, there's plenty of places to sit. And it's just, I'm so excited. I'm very excited for Fun Day Monday. It's
and it'll be here before we know it. That's clearly the iconic summer tradition in North Hempstead. So it's really, really great to that it's coming back, in full force. And in addition to that, there's also a bunch of concerts that are going to be in North Hempstead. And I found that there's concerts in June and July and August. So there's going to be, the first one kicks off on June 30th. And that's at Mary Jane Davies Green. And it's Porchlight is the band, and that's a dance and rock band. And all concerts are free. Depending on the facility, there might be some parking fees. So you can always call 311 for that information.
And I happen to know the keyboard player in Porchlight, and he's terrific.
Oh.
So you got to go see him. His name's Jason, and I actually think I saw them in Port.
I think they're a Port band.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. So you heard it here first, Beck. So now everyone, if they have complaints, they could just call you now. But other bands, I love, it's such a diverse mix. We're going to have the Parks Department's going to be on in June to talk about just some upcoming, concerts, because it's really something for everyone. And I love each year they have, whether it's classic rock or country or, reggae or pop, there's really something for everyone at all different locations. And there's a lot at North Hempstead Beach Park. So we will be promoting them as they come, because there's a bunch of exciting things. And, I love it. You just bring a chair, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to do with the whole family for the summer. So definitely check that out. And once again, call 311 or 516-869-6311 to get the full schedule for that. And then Tuesday movies in the park will also be coming this summer. And the first one kicks off on Tuesday, June 28th at 9 p.m. with Encanto. And that's going to be at Bunky Reed Park. So that's a perfect, bring your grandkids, bring your kids. It's, I think it's so great. That's certainly been all my nieces and nephews, that's the hot movie is Encanto. So that's really a great thing. And I love an outdoor movie. It's very nostalgic and a fun little thing. So you can bring snacks and a blanket, and it's a great, great time. There's also going to be, I think last year was the first year they did this, was Shakespeare in the park. So that's going to be on Saturday, June 18th at Clark Botanic Garden at 6 p.m. as well. So
perfect spot.
And that, it's really, it adds to the mystique too of Shakespeare. So I think it'd really be great. But we always say in North Hempstead, you really can't be bored. There's really something you could line up for, not just one thing a day, but a whole list of things to do in one day. We could really keep you busy. So definitely for all that information, please call 311 to register for that. And also, I have to do this because I was told to promote this on the radio show, that lifeguards are still wanted. So if you know anyone that is interested, or just spread the word, it's for the pools and beaches in North Hempstead, including Michael J. Tully Park is where you can apply. So anytime Monday through Friday between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. to submit your application. It starts at $18 an hour. So that's really, really great. So if you know anyone in the neighborhood, just spread the word, your grandkid, your kid, whatever it might be. who is
Christina,
interested.
in line with that, isn't there some kind of a thing that they have to get approved by uh, the Red Cross or whatever? I don't know the organization,
Yeah, well, there's a
but the
training
town ran
course.
something
Yeah,
where,
there's like a course you have to take
right, and
in
the
order to be
town
approved. You
runs
can't
the
just,
course, but I don't remember the details. I sent a few people there,
yeah.
uh, but
You
they
could
could look
call
that up.
311 and they have that. I
Right.
don't have that in front of me, but there is a
They'll
course that,
probably get them certified.
yeah.
One thing I just wanted to mention, Christina, too, is Monday is senior recognition lunch, the senior recognition lunch at Harbor Links, and that's when we celebrate seniors, other seniors in town, town officials, nominate someone who's really gone so far beyond, in the town of North Hempstead, and we recognize them, and they get a lot of proclamations, and it's a luncheon on Monday. And we actually are going to have, for the first time, the Nassau Pop Symphony is going to send over three
Oh,
people. They're
great.
going to do like a trio. It's a cello and two violinists. So we're really looking forward to that. That'll be a little bit early on. And then, we have a full program. So that's going to be Monday. I'm sure I'll see you there, Councilwoman Del Monte. Looking forward to that. I guarantee you'll be there, in fact.
Yes.
Great. Well, that sounds like it's a fun, and that is a little homage to May is Older Americans Month. So that's
Right.
why they're having the senior recognition. So it's Age by Way is this month's theme. So it's all about, it goes with PI, and it's all about just planning, engagement, access, and communication and connection. So those are kind of all of our, buzzwords over here at Project Independence and You. So I think it's so wonderful that the town does this great program.
Can I talk a little bit about my brush with fame yesterday?
Yes, absolutely.
So exciting. So there was a big senior recognition, a luncheon at the Marriott in Uniondale, and the keynote speaker was Susan Lucci.
Oh,
And I'd love to get her on the radio show because she has a tremendous story about what happened with her. She almost had the widowmaker heart attack, and she was experiencing symptoms that weren't common to. She talked about, weren't common to what you hear, like, that men get, maybe jaw pain, left arm pain, all those symptoms that we know are familiar. She's just started having a little discomfort in their chest that went around to her back, and it would go away. This happened several times, and then she was shopping. She was at, she tells the story, she was at the Miracle Mile buying a gift for a friend, and she felt what felt like an elephant landing on her chest. And she mentioned, she's like, I'm in very good shape. I've always been a healthy eater. I've always, been exercising the whole 9 yards. And she, make a long story short, she sat down, the store manager came over and asked if she was okay. She said what was going on. They took her to St. Francis, had to put in 2 stents. She had blockages. She'd never been sick a day in her life. She said she never had anything. So she had avoided this heart attack. And so she talked a lot about that. Now she speaks out about women's health, cardiac health. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't get your heart checked out only when you think you have a symptom. It really should be a baseline thing that all women do. Know your cholesterol, get the same kinds of tests that men get or require or think they need. Just don't avoid it, because if it could happen to her, she said, it really could happen to anyone. And she answered all kinds of questions. She said after she spoke, it was so funny, Marianne, you'll love this. She said, I will answer any questions. She goes, if you want to ask me who the best kisser on all my children was, I'll let you know. So she was terrific. And she answered tons and tons of questions. And then I asked her a question about, she was on Saturday Night Live, and she did a hysterical show. And I just said, you're funny too. And I don't know if people know that about you, if they remember when you hosted Saturday Night Live. So she talked all about it. And she was just so gracious and, really is so down to earth and a real Long Island girl. I mean, lady, woman. And it was amazing. So I had like a little, connection with her. So, I mean, I don't know. I think we're friends now.
I like that. Watch out.
I have a question for you. You talked about cholesterol and you talked about she had to get 2 stents. I wonder, were her cholesterol numbers good? Does that, just because you have good cholesterol numbers,
I
does
can't
that mean
answer
you're not
that.
a stent candidate?
She really had no red flags, and there were no red flags. She was very healthy, but she said she had one artery was 90% blocked and one was like 70 something blocked. And when the doctor at St. Francis said to her, she actually went home the next day at 12 noon. But the Dr. Schlafmitz, who is like the director, told her, you would have had the widowmaker, which is, the heart attack where there's very few people survive. And she said, here I am, that would be the furthest thing from her mind.
Right.
So,
you know what a message is even if you have good cholesterol numbers, you've got to pay attention.
Yeah.
Or I'm
Yes.
really going to ask my doctor, how do you get tested for something like that?
Right. I mean, we don't have a lot of time, but, I had a cardiac ablation in 2018. I'm pretty healthy. I was actually at the gym when I recognized my heart rate was just getting out of control. And, I went to the doctor and they said, oh, well, you have, this thing. I had supraventricular AV nodal tachycardia. So,
wow. I like how you just rolled off the tongue.
What? I had to go in. I had to have this ablation. It took 40 minutes, and that's it. It's like there's always things. So you really have to be, conscious. And then one thing she did say, which was interesting, Otto, is the cardiologist said to her, "Your heart is perfectly healthy. In fact, it's like a 20-year-old heart." So it for her it was the arteries that were clogged. Right. So it's that could have led to the heart attack because it would have blocked the blood flow to the heart. So anyway, that's my claim to fame.
Yeah. So listen, we're gonna try and get Susan Lucci for the show. So
you hear that, Susan? We're like buddies now.
That's
she
right.
She lives in Garden City, I think.
She sure does.
According to the newspapers.
So we'll see. This might be my next task, guys. So
I know. Dan, do you know her if you're listening?
But I also just want to remind people that I cannot believe we're saying this, but next week is Memorial Day. Fireworks are going to. I cannot believe we're already talking about this. It just seems like it just came really, really fast. But it's always such a staple of North Hempstead. So the program begins at 6 p.m. The fireworks start at 9:15. The parking fee is $10 in cash. And then $7 credit card, I believe, which gets a little confusing, but that's what it is. And then, of course, there's going to be a tribute band, a Chicago tribute band, and there's going to be a band playing some 70s hits. So it's always such a fun thing, and I encourage people to try and get there on the earlier side because it really does fill up. So once again, that's Saturday, May 25th. So put that on your calendar.
Very good.
Coming up in June, on June 15th, I really want to remind people, because they've been on our radio show numerous times. In addition, they've provided tons of programs for Project Independence, and that's the Alzheimer's Association. They're going to be providing a program over at Clinton G. Martin Park called Healthy Living for Your Brain and Body. It's going to be from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. on June 15th, and it's all going to be really about how to improve your health and different habits that can really keep your brain healthy, and possibly delay onset. I think that's what we're all trying to do with all these things, is just take, proactive initiatives. So you're, little things that you can do that aren't drastic. I think I'm really curious to hear what the different tips will be about that. So once again, June 15th, 1 to 2 p.m. at Clinton G. Martin Park. I really recommend everyone checks that out because they provide wonderful, wonderful programs. I know we are rapidly running out of time. I just want to remind people that if you are interested in any of our support groups, whether virtual or in person, you can always call 311 or 516-869-6311 to register for any of those programs. There's a lot of great stuff going on in North Hempstead, so definitely check that out. Obviously, if you need transportation as well, you can call 311 too for a lot of medical and food shopping. So.
Well, that is it for the show. I want to thank Marianne Del Monte, Councilwoman of District 6, for staying around and hanging out with us and just throwing in some great information. We really appreciate you being here. We're also happy that we had General Security Inc. with John Lupino and Al Staub, and of course, Amanda Spratt. Terrific. She's her Kristina's future sister-in-law, Otto. Thank you so much. As always, Kristina, you're beyond.
Thank you, my dear.
Dan Cox, thanks for everything. We'll be back next week. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Rebecca.
That's right, Beth.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you, Marianne.
Pleasure.
And I'm sure we'll have you back. That's it, everyone. Have a great weekend. Take care now.